I participate in a monthly collaboration. It's called Journaling My Way, and it's all about journaling my way. And it is so fun to see what the other creators put in their videos and how they use journaling. And for me, I'm just kind of exploring journaling right now, and it's kind of like memory keeping, scrapbooking, junk journaling, and it's kind of a mixture. I'm also doing mixed media in there. I'm just trying to find my groove with it. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed today's video. It's all about day 2 of my trip to the Pacific Northwest. And after you watch my video, you have to check out the other amazing creators and the playlist. I'll have everything linked below, including the link to Tasha from Sunflower Tasha, Tiffany from Simply Blessed Crafts, Mary from The Painted Peach, Nikki from Nikki's Eye for DIY, and Christy from Funky Junk Inspiration. Like I said, these gals are amazing. I'm gonna have everything linked below. You definitely need to check it out. But hey friends, I'm your go-to gal for all things watercolor painting and DIY crafting. And if you are cozy-hearted and creatively curious, you're in the right place. I'm Lisa, and this is Our Gray House. As I said a moment ago, I'm kind of exploring creative journaling, junk journaling, memory keeping, and these are the things that I'm going to try to include today. But I knew I wanted to put a couple of pictures in, so I'm using my HP Sprocket printer, and I'm just going to print out a little picture to go on to my journal spread. And it takes just a minute. It seems like it's taking longer than just a minute. Maybe it's longer than just a minute. But here it comes, and it just prints out like that. Now I also have a Instax printer, which prints out photos that look like it came from a Polaroid picture. Now, I wanted 2 on this spread, so I'm going to print out the other one. And again, you just go to your photo gallery. Well, you like sync up everything, and then you go to your photo gallery, you choose the one that you want, and then you print. And then it comes out just like that. And I actually just sped this up, I think, 2 times speed, so it's actually really pretty quick. Now, here's the spread. And I typically take a scrap piece of paper. We use paper at work, and there's usually stuff left over or that they don't need anymore. Instead of throwing it away, I use it to kind of sketch out what I'm going to do. And I have really wanted to include watercolor in this because I bought the Leuchtturm, I don't know how you say that, Leuchtturm 120G journal, and it's not 140-pound cotton, cold pressed paper, but it is able to hold a little bit of watercolor. And so I had sketched on, and I did use a piece of carbon paper, graphite paper, to kind of trace some of the stuff on, and some of it I kind of sketched and traced, so it's a mixture of both. But I'm trying to add the train, and you'll see the train on the left side there. It's just a black and white photo. That's my reference photo, and I'm just trying to add that. This doesn't turn out, but that's okay. Not everything has to turn out like you want to, but I think I'm just kind of forcing the watercolor, and maybe I didn't need to use watercolor for this particular piece. While we were in Portland, we visited Oaks Park Amusement Park, and I did trace the the logo, because I would not be able to really sketch that out. And so I just kind of traced that on with the graphite paper, and now I'm using some markers. I think these are Tombow, and I am just kind of filling in with color, not exactly the colors they used, but similar, so you kind of recognize what the logo is. And while we were there as well, we found a Blix. So I don't have Blix in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, but in Portland, there is one. So my husband and I went there, and I was able to find, I had been on the hunt for these Sakura glazed pens, and I couldn't find them anywhere. I have Jerry's Artorama here in Dallas. I have an independent shop here in Dallas. I couldn't find them there. I don't think I've seen them at Michael's or Hobby Lobby, but I didn't look too hard. But anyway, they have them at Blix. And so I was able to get that, and we did make a stop, so I was just putting the logo, the sign shop out there so I could remember that by. So again, this is my reference photo. I sketched out kind of where I wanted things to go, and then I ended up forgetting one of the things, but I'll tell you about that in a minute. So here's where we are so far. And I'm going to use some Elmer's glue, like a glue stick, and the Sprocket prints out a sticker photo. And I wanted to make sure it stayed, so I used glue and I used the sticker photo. So I put one picture down there, one picture at the top, and not super great at laying out things, but here we are. And then I'm going over the Blick logo again because I used my gel pen. My glaze pen is not working, but I have a couple of those. Anyways, I'll need to go over it again, but I was really wanting that wording to stand out better. And I'm adding my receipt because, like I said, I want this to be kind of a scrapbook type thing, junk journal, and memory keeping, and travel journal. And so I was wanting to keep some of what they call ephemera in there, and I'm keeping one of the receipts. Now, the receipt to the parking for Oaks Park, it was not going to fit, so I just used my little handy dandy Fiskars paper cutter, and I cut it down to size. I did it that way because I trusted it to be more of a straight edge. And then I'm using my glue tape dispenser thing, and I'd like it, but I don't know, sometimes I feel like it's not that easy to use because it's a little too sticky sometimes, and I am just pressing that down in there. And we're starting to kind of come together. The reason I made the little receipt kind of fold up is because I kind of wanted to write under it and kind of hide something, you know? I thought that was more fun. So I fiddle and I fiddle and I fiddle until I folded that thing so many times. But, you know, I got it to how I wanted, and that's what matters. Because there are no rules as to how many times you can or cannot fold a piece of paper. Nobody's going to care except me. I decided to go in with a Stabilo pen to add some detail to the train. Now, the thing I didn't know about Stabilo pens, I really like them. I like how they feel and how they write. I like the thickness of it. It's very, very similar to the Micron pen that I normally use, but this one is not water resistant, waterproof. So if you get it wet, it will bleed. I didn't know that, but anyway, now I do because it bled on something that I was trying to do. And I'm just trying to give a little bit more dimension, a little bit more detail to this train. Again, not super happy with how it came out, but it conveys the message. And ultimately, I didn't show much else as far because the main pieces were there. I did forget to I was going to put a concha sweetbread in the upper left corner, and I forgot, and I ended up writing there anyway. So, you know, there was an element that I missed, but in general, I tried to follow my little plan that I sketched out so I could kind of know where I was placing things. And the only part that I really left out here is just me writing all the words in the journal page. So here we are. Here's my little journal. I had gotten a new label maker, and I added Our Gray House to the front. And that's the first page, the Explore page, and then my State Fair from last year's page, and my little palette swatching, and then PNW Day 1, and now PNW Day 2. See, I think it looks fun. I like how it turned out. So, and that's kind of what my inspiration was, or kind of my guide, my sketch out there, and that's how it turned out in real life. Here's another peek at what I created today. I hope you enjoyed it. And don't forget, if you want to follow me on social media, my handle is OurGrayHouse, but just don't follow me in real life though, because that's creepy. Bye.